Okay guys, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to do a scratch build video on this ultimate Bipe. You can go on RC Groups or rcfoam.com, either one, and you can get a PDF and print it out, and it'll show you how, it'll give you all the plans to build this Bipe. I've already built one, and I'm going to do another one for my buddy Dwayne. And I'm going to go through a build video and show you how I did it and some things that I did to change it. And it's a nice fine plane. Okay, when you print your PDF out, they're going to give you a choice on the bottom wing to have a, this is for a park flyer, and this is for the 3D plane. So I'm not even going to use the park flyer because I want a 3D plane. And I lay it out on the paper. I've traced it, marked the center line, flip it over, and I'm to the edge of the sheet with my center line, and I've marked it, and that leaves me with the center line. And here's my fuselage on my plane, so I know how wide I'm going to make my plane. And here's my ailerons, and I'll show you how I cut this out. I'm not saying this is the right way, just not saying this is how I do it. I got an X-Acto knife with a brand new blade in it, and I don't use straight edges. I just go down, not all the way through, just score it, and I follow the line. I'm not trying to go all the way through. I'm just kind of like giving it a score. Pulling it real easy. Keeping the blade nice and straight. And I like always pulling towards me. So, got it in the line. And that's the thing about scratch building. You ain't got to be perfect. A lot of people, you can use a straight edge for this if you want. If you're not used to pulling a knife, you do it enough and you'll get used to it. And this table here, I'm at the shop, but if this was your kitchen table, your wife would go crazy if you do go all the way through. And I score it all first. The pieces that I'm going to cut out. Just take your time. It's not a race. Just take your time. And it's a scratch build plane, you know. You're not gonna, if it's a little off here or there, it's no big deal. I'm gonna go to the center line on this one. Like I said, I'm not trying to go all the way through. I'm just scoring the top and maybe cutting half or a little more on the foam. Okay. Now, come off the edge of the table, and as you can see, I didn't cut nowhere near on the bottom. So then you go back, what I do, and make sure everything's nice and straight. And when you've already made that score, this knife will pull right through here like butter on the second cut. I always feel like for some reason on the ends go that way just a little bit, then come back. And this is just cut. You're cutting the paper and a little bit. And it gives it a nice clean cut, it really does. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. I'm just saying this is how I do it. And you push down a little bit of pressure when it's on the edge of the table, and where you've scored it that first time, it'll pull right through your cut line. Just come, make sure you're off the edge of the table. Now you can see it's starting to fold some. And just take your time, but it'll pull right through the second cut is a whole lot easier than that first cut. Okay, there's the one wing cut out. Alright, now here's the ailerons. Now this is what I do. I got my lines, and I got a fly in here. I got my lines, and what you want to be able to hinge this. I'm going to hinge this and show you how I do it. What I do is you want a 45 on it, you know, so I'll need a 22 degree. This is only not even 1/4 of an inch thick, so I'm going to go just a little more than an 1/8. And I'm going to hold my knife on a 45 or a 22. And I'm going to stay, I like to stay like an 1/8 away from the line. And like the first cut, you don't want to go all the way through. You want to score it. Stay straight as you can. Same thing on this side of the line. An 1/8 of an inch. Keep an angle. Stay away from that line like an 1/8 of an inch, but tilt that blade in to the center. And then once you do that, it pulls right out. As you can see, that popped out. Now you got your ailerons already, still paper still on it, as you add some hinge. To me, I think this is a lot easier than trying to cut it and tape it back. So here's the line, 1/8 of an inch, angle it. Don't go all the way through the paper. Once you do this a couple times, it'll come natural to you. 1/8 of an inch or even 3/16, it's not going to hurt it. The more the merrier, really. Same thing on this side, 1/8 of an inch or a little more. Angle your knife. Don't go all the way through. And there you go. Okay, on this one, I'm on a piece of on the wings. I am going to put a piece of carbon fiber rod in here too. So I'm going to put my straight edge from tip to tip, and the carbon fiber rod is 12 inches long. So I'm going to put a line across here. It's 24 inches long, so I'm going to need 12 inches. And 12 inches again, which is 24. And there's where I want to put my rod. Now what I do is the same thing as I did to my hinge. I want to cut this out. This time I want to stay a little closer to this line. I don't want such a big gap in there, so I'm going to stay like a 1/16 away from it. And angle a little bit. Sixteenth away or so. Angle my knife. And I'm not going all the way through the paper. I'm only going down and as you can see, you can pull this out. Now I've got somewhere to put my rod. Okay, now we got our ailerons cut. We got a groove in here for our carbon fiber rod. We're going to grab our glue gun. We're going to run a bead of hot glue down here in the groove. And we're going to take our rod, put it in the groove, push it down, nice and tight. I'm going to take my finger and run over some of the glue. Alright, now I've got some batteries in here. I'm going to hold this wing flat while this glue is drying. Wipe off the excess glue. And there's our wing. It's dried, it's nice and flat. The rod's in there, it's nice and stiff. I'm going to hinge the bottom of this with some packing tape. So I'll cut it nice and square. I always use a little bit of weight. You want it to hang over. And then you can stick your tape like half an inch up or so. And you know it's nice and straight. Cut it. Always put your tape, if not you're going to fight it. You always want your ailerons or any control surfaces down. So when you put your tape on, and that way you'll get your deflection that you need, and then push it into the cut pieces when it comes up too. And then this way, hold it flat and run it down in there. Run your finger back down in that groove and get that tape. So it's like that. If you put it on here flat, you're not going to get the deflection. And then you can always come back and just trim off the little bit that was long. Same way here, just that little bit that was long. And that's a good hinge right there. I only put mine on the bottom. I put tape on the bottom where I leave the paper on the top. You don't have to put it on there. And that hinge there will, once this tape really sets in, it's going to be a good hinge. That's the best thing about these scratch builds. You don't have to be perfect. I try to be on most things, but alright, that's a good wing right there. All I need is another one just like this one.